It was 6:30 on a Monday night. I'd already been through 2 packs of cigarettes. I knew it was going to be a long day the very second I stepped out of bed. I've always hated Mondays. That's one thing you should know about me. I hate Mondays. I finished my work around 8. The night was still young and I needed a drink. I headed out into the night and made my way to the Sore Thumb, a pub on the corner of 3rd and Madison. Only the city's most foul are out to drink on a Monday night. Scotch, I told the bartender. 10:30 p.m. She entered the bar dressed in blue. When I looked up, our eyes met. She came closer.
Are you Ray Frost?
Ray Frost. That's me. Senior investigative reporter at Roanoke University.
I was told I can find you here. My name's Laura Turner. I need your help.
Laura Turner. I'd seen her around campus before. She was 2 years my junior. Real nice girl. The type you could bring home to mom. If she had come all the way out to see me, she must be in trouble. What can I do for you, kid?
It's my boyfriend, Jimmy Smith. You know him, right?
I did. Jimmy was a freelance photographer. Graduated last year. Occasionally shot for the paper.
He disappeared 2 nights ago, and I went to the police, but they said they can't do anything until more time's passed. They said he's probably on a photo shoot and just forgot to call. That's not like Jimmy. I know Jimmy, and he wouldn't just forget to call. See, I'm afraid he's gotten himself into some trouble that he can't get out of. That's why I'm here. I was wondering if maybe you could look into it a little bit for me. I'd be willing to pay you. Money's not enough.
Don't show your money around here, kid. She obviously didn't freak in bars that often, but I could tell that she was scared. She wouldn't have come if she wasn't, so I'd help her. Maybe I was heading down a dead end, but I'd help her because she asked politely. I looked at my watch. It was nearing 11. Yeah, sure, I'll help you. I paid the bartender and we left.
If it's not too much to ask, do you mind walking me home?
It was, but she had asked politely.
My apartment's just a few blocks this way. It's just that I think Jimmy got himself mixed up into something. He saw something he wasn't supposed to see. Got mixed up with the wrong kind of guys. Last time I talked to Jimmy was Friday. He called and he said he was on to something big. He sounded nervous. Thanks for your help. I didn't know who else to turn to.
We planned to meet for lunch tomorrow to go over the facts. We said our goodbyes and I left. Something about the case struck me. Was she just being paranoid? I didn't think so. Jimmy crossed paths with a lot of bad guys. He made a living invading people's private business. Maybe this time he went too far. I needed to sleep on it. Alright, I know Jimmy got around, but did he have any real enemies? I mean, anyone who'd want him out of the picture? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it.
No, it's all right. Jimmy was threatened by Jack Diamond a few months ago. Jack and his thugs were responsible to the damage done to school property last October, the graffiti and the broken windows. Jimmy caught Jack in the action, and Jack was fined and had to serve several hours of community service.
I was familiar with the incident. The paper had printed Jimmy's photo, and I had written the corresponding story.
Ever since then, Jack's had it out for Jimmy. He even had one of his thugs follow him home one night. He threatened Jimmy and said that if he ever took another picture of Jack, it'd be his last. We called the police, and thankfully we haven't had a problem ever since.
Until now.
Until now.
Later that day, I phoned an old friend who worked in the administration office, Austin O'Neill. She had access to all student files. This, of course, often came in handy.
Diamond's record reads like a criminal's. I mean, we have accounts of public disturbance, theft, assault, drug possession, arson. The list is endless. He could have been kicked out of school like several times, but Daddy's on the board of trustees. Oh, and get this, he's got a calling card, the Jack of Diamonds. Real witty, right?
But doesn't that just tie all his crimes back to him?
That's the whole point. He's proud of his crimes. He wants everybody to know what he's done. Diamond knows he could practically get away with murder as long as Daddy keeps footing the bill.
This was interesting. Jack had motive. Jimmy had messed with him once. Perhaps Jimmy had been in the process of snapping more incriminating photos of Jack, only to have Jack stop him before he could have the photos printed. But if Jack Diamond was involved in Jimmy's disappearance, wouldn't he have left something to make his mark? Then again, there wasn't a crime scene. I needed to find out where and when Jimmy had disappeared. Okay, so let's go over Jimmy's last day.
Well, he left our apartment around 10:15. He had to make an appointment he had with the SPCA. They hired him to take some photos of the animals for their website. He called me around 12:30 and we met at the South Street Cafe on Main Street, and we left the cafe before 2. After that, all I know is that Jimmy had an appointment with Blair Adams.
I knew Blair. Everyone knew Blair. All around likable guy. Played in the boys' varsity lacrosse team. What would he be doing for Blair Adams?
Blair Adams running for president against Grant Dixon. He hired Jimmy to take some photos. All I know is that the photos weren't of Blair. They were of Grant. He wants Jimmy to do some snooping, dig up some dirt.
Grant Dixon had been president for the past 3 years, running for his 4th term in the upcoming week.
After that, I don't know what Jimmy did. We were supposed to meet for a movie at 6, and when I hadn't heard from him by 5:30, I gave him a call. That's when he told me he was on to something big.
Was he still working for Blair at the time you called?
That's the thing, I don't know. He may have been. He may not have been.
So we know Jimmy's whereabouts until 2 p.m., and the last time you spoke to him was 5:30 p.m. Well, that still left things wide open. I needed more information, so I arranged a meeting with Blair Adams, Grant Dixon's competition in the upcoming election. So what made you decide to run for office?
I'm not gonna lie. Grant had a great first 2 years in office. He accomplished a lot for the school. Don't get me wrong, I love what he did to improve the cafeteria food, but now he's sitting pretty. I guess he feels like he doesn't have to work as hard anymore, that he's a shoo-in for president regardless who runs against him. I think it's time someone else had a chance. That's why I'm running. I got a few ideas of my own on my sleeve.
And where does Jimmy Smith fit into all this?
Well, I think I contacted Jimmy, I guess it was about a month ago. I wanted him to follow Grant around, see what he was up to, what he did from day to day.
So you wanted Jimmy to spy on Grant?
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
You think Grant may have been up to something?
Well, and this is all strictly theory. I've got no proof. But in last year's election, Grant ran against Alicia Cross. You know Alicia. She's captain of the field hockey team. She belongs to the Phi Kappa Beta sorority. And to make a long story short, she's well known and well liked. And Grant's a great speaker, but he can rub you the wrong way, if you know what I mean. It was going to be a close race. Anyway, after the election was over, that night the administration office reported a break-in. And the administration office where all the votes were kept to be counted for the following morning. A window was broken, sounded the alarm, and campus security arrived within minutes. They found no one and nothing was reported missing. I found this suspicious, so I wanted to know where Grant had been throughout the entire ordeal. Well, it turns out he left right after the election. Something about a family emergency. And didn't return until a week later. So there's nothing to tie Grant to the scene. But as you all know, he did win the election by a landslide.
And you know all this because...
Last year, I worked in the administration office as part of my work-study program. I filed, typed data into the computer, that sort of stuff. Worst job ever, I wouldn't recommend it.
But would it be possible to rig the election?
Oh, definitely. Ballots are still done by paper. All you have to do is make a copy of the original form and check off the names of who you want to win. Then replace the exact number of real ballots with fake ballots, and you've rigged the election. It's surprisingly easy. But like I said before, a window was broken, seconds later security showed up, so there wouldn't have been enough time for anyone to get in and out, let alone find the box and replace the votes.
All right, when was the last time you saw Jimmy?
Well, we met for coffee last Thursday. Jimmy was following Grant around for most of the week, but found nothing worth mentioning. He said it's hard keeping up on the guy. It seems like he's never around campus. He said he would try again tomorrow, which would have been Friday.
And that's the day Jimmy went missing. All right, thanks for your help.
No problem. Just let me know if there's anything else I could do. Jimmy's really a good guy. I hope you can get to the bottom of this.
Thanks. I caught Austin on her break from work. So Blair hired Jimmy to follow Grant and snap some pictures of him in case he'd been up to anything suspicious. So what can you tell me about Grant Dixon?
Grant Dixon. Now he's a piece of work. How he wins the election year after year is beyond me. I know I didn't vote for him. Thinks he's so much better than everyone because he's high class. Anyway, what I know about him is that his family is rolling in the dough, a fact which Grant loves to make known to everyone around him. Why he's so bent on being president is anyone's guess. I mean, he wouldn't have to work a day in his life and he'd still be set. Well, at least that's what I've heard.
Do you know where I can find him?
That I can't help you with. I mean, I never see him on campus, never at any parties, maybe the occasional school event, but that's it. You'd probably have better luck reaching Corinne McGovern. She's his campaign manager. Corinne works at the administrative office with me. She's just as stuck up, but at least she's available. In fact, her shift starts about a half an hour. You could probably catch her on your way to work.
Hi, friend. My name's Ray Frost. I'm doing a story for the paper on the election. I was wondering if I could ask you a few questions. A little white lie never hurt anyone.
Sure, but can you make it quick? My shift starts in about 5 minutes.
No problem. So what do you think Grant's chances of winning are?
He's a shoo-in.
What makes you so sure?
Well, Grant's been president for the past 3 years and done a terrific job. Why wouldn't he win again? Grant's the best man for the job, everyone knows that.
What about Blair Adams? You don't think he stands a chance?
No.
He's a pretty well-known guy with a lot of friends.
This isn't a popularity vote. If that dumb jock wouldn't do a single thing for the school, this is all a big joke to him. I'd hope the student body would have enough sense to realize this. If you'll excuse me, I have to get to work.
Does the name Ava ring a bell?
Ava Monroe.
I could tell the name put a sour taste in her mouth.
She's a model. Jimmy used to shoot her when he worked for Harris Imaging. He worked for this guy named Egan Harris until he got into some big fight about something. Jimmy doesn't like to talk about it.
I hated to ask, but the elephant in the room couldn't be avoided. And their relationship was strictly business?
She's his ex.
My hand or just a cigarette?
Hello?
Hi. Is this Ava Monroe?
That depends. Who's asking?
My name's Ray Frost. I'm a friend of Jimmy's.
Look, I can't talk about this over the phone, but I'll meet you somewhere.
She could be seen from a mile away. Ava Monroe?
In the flesh.
Ray Frost.
Charmed, I'm sure.
Look, I was hoping I'd ask you a few
Listen,
questions.
I don't know exactly who you are or why you're calling me, but I'm putting myself on the line here talking to you, so it better be worth it.
I could tell this one was going to be difficult. Why would you be putting yourself on the line?
Let's just say my boss isn't exactly one of Jimmy's biggest fans.
Why is that?
What is this, 20 questions? How about, why am I here first?
Jimmy's missing.
Missing.
Disappeared. No one's heard from him in days.
He's probably off on a photo shoot. He does spontaneous things like that.
So says the police. Cigarettes. The first sign of nervousness. She's trying to keep her cool, but maybe I could slowly break through the ice.
You think I'm involved in this somehow?
I don't know. Maybe. Why don't you prove me wrong? I'd cast my line. Threw out the bait. Would she take it?
What are you, a secret investigator? A private eye?
Just helping out a friend. Could use your help.
I'm an open book. What do you want to know?
What can you tell me about Egan Harris?
My boss owns Harris Imaging. He started it from the ground up, and when it got too much for one person to handle, he hired Jimmy. They got along all right at first, but Egan has a temper. He gets jealous very quickly. Jimmy was a better photographer. He kept showing Egan up, getting all the client requests. And if there's one thing Jimmy's not, it's modest. He's talented, and he knows he's talented, and he wants everybody else to know. Egan always had a thing for me, so when he found out that Jimmy and I were dating, he went off. The two of them got into this explosive fight, and it got violent. It ended with Jimmy leaving.
That's all in the past, right? I mean, there's no reason he'd still want to hurt Jimmy, is there?
I have somewhere I have to be.
Look, I think there's a lot more to this story than you're willing to tell me.
Go to hell.
She was hiding something. That much was obvious. The more I dove into the case, the deeper I dug my hole. I was in over my head, up a creek without a paddle. The list of possible suspects was increasing every day. Where would it lead me next?
Well, well, well. Look who we have here. Ray Frost. A little birdie told me that there was a nosy reporter snooping around places he shouldn't be. What do you think about that, boys? I think the reporter should be a little bit more careful where he sticks his nose next time.
Obviously, small talk was going to get me nowhere. Maybe a different approach might work.
Let's cut the crap, Jack. Jimmy Smith's gone missing. In fact, I'm sure you're well aware of. Sources tell me you and him had some miscommunications a few weeks back. Just checking in to see if you guys had any recent run-ins.
That good-for-nothing photographer's been a thorn in my side since I stepped on this campus. He deserves whatever's coming.
Sounds to me like a threat. You wouldn't mind me quoting you on that, would you? Make a great opening line for my story.
Boys, I don't think Ray Frost here knows where he is. You're on my turf now, so you better watch what you say. All I know is that Jimmy Smith isn't Mr. Popularity around guys like me. I don't know anything about this particular disappearance, but there are plenty of guys that would like to drag Jimmy down with them. Whatever happens, it's been a long time coming. I suggest that you lay off this case before the same thing happens to you.
Hello?
I'm willing to talk now.
How did you get this number?
We can't do this over the phone. I'll meet you.
Egan and I we've been engaged for some time. We started dating after Jimmy left. It ensures a steady job and good money. I do what I have to do to get by. But you know what they say, old flames never burn out. Jimmy and I had been seeing each other in secret.
Alright, look, I'm not here to judge. Alright, your life is your own. I just need to know, when's the last time you saw Jimmy?
Last Friday.
And so the plot thickens. That's the day Jimmy went missing. Do you have any reason to believe Egan knows?
I don't know, I can't see why he would. Jimmy and I are very careful. We keep private. But last Friday, I was busy and I couldn't see him, so when I went out to town to run some errands, he tagged along. It was dumb, selfish, but I really wanted to see him, so I made him come. I wasn't even thinking. Egan has so many friends, we could have been spotted.
About what time did Jimmy leave?
I guess about 4:30 he went back to campus.
Has Egan been acting different? Or been doing anything strange?
Not that I can... Wait. I can't believe I didn't even think of this. He came home on Friday with his hand bandaged. I didn't even think about it at the time. I just left Jimmy and I went straight home. Egan usually gets home around 5, but on Friday he didn't get home till 6. He said he was held up at work, but his hand was all bandaged up. He said he hit it in a car door. I didn't even think about it twice. You don't think that...
I don't know what I think anymore. But I'll look into it.
You have to be careful. You don't know who you're dealing with. Egan has so many connections. When he gets angry...
You don't think he would hurt you, do you?
No.
He would never hurt me. But I don't even want to think about what he would do if he found Jimmy.
I now knew Jimmy's whereabouts up until 4:30 p.m., ending with Jimmy heading back on campus. 5:30 was when Jimmy phoned Laura. That narrowed it down to an hour, 60 minutes. In that time, had Egan found Jimmy? Was his bandaged hand from a fight? I needed to get in touch with Egan. I called his studio and scheduled an interview for Sunday at 3:30.
You can come in if you want.
I knew I shouldn't. I needed to keep things strictly business. When you let things get personal, that's when the trouble starts. But my heart, not my head, led me to her front door.
Oh my God.
While Laura dialed the police, I decided to do a little investigation of my own. I was looking for a sign, a clue, anything that might tip me off. If this had been the work of Jack Diamond, would he have left his mark? There were so many loose ends, so many different ways to look at it. I was in over my head. But this was personal now. I couldn't let Laura down. I promised her I'd find him, and I'd never been a promise lightly. I wouldn't stop till I'd seen this through. And that's when I found it. A jack of diamonds. Was this the proof I needed? Had Jack Diamond been involved in Jimmy's disappearance after all? It seemed too easy. I couldn't put my finger on it, but there was something wrong here. The card was entirely too obvious. Nothing is ever what it seems to be. My interview with Egan Harris wasn't until 3:30, so I had plenty of time to kill. I headed to the library. I was flipping through pages and pages of school policy when something caught my eye. Class presidents at Roanoke University of 4 or more years with a cumulative GPA of 92 or above receive an all-paid tuition towards Roanoke's graduate school for the major of their choice. Grant would be entering his 4th term as president if he won next week's election. Everyone knew the election was everything to him, but why? For the personal satisfaction? For the job experience? He certainly didn't need the money. Grant's family was loaded. He made a point of letting everyone know about it.
Austin. I can't come to the phone right now, but you know what to do.
Austin, it's Ray. Look, I need you to get me Grant Dixon's file. Anything you can find on him would be a great help. Thanks. Corinne, listen. I need to know where I can find Grant.
For the last time, Frost, he doesn't have time to talk to you. The election is next week, for Christ's sake. He's busy campaigning.
Corinne, this is important. Please.
Look, I'm real sorry that your friend is missing. Kid had a lot of talent. Those pictures he took of those abandoned animals down at the SPCA, real cute. But Grant and I don't have time for this. You're on your own.
But would it be possible to rig the election?
Oh, definitely. Ballots are still done by paper. All you have to do is make a copy of the original form and check off the names of who you want to win. Then replace the exact number of real ballots with fake ballots, and you've rigged the election. It's surprisingly easy.
I don't know anything about this particular disappearance, but there are plenty of guys that would like to drag Jimmy down with them. Whatever happens, it's been a long time coming. I suggest that you lay off this case before the same thing happens to you.
So I made him come. I wasn't even thinking. Egan has so many friends. We could have been spotted.
Friend is missing. Kid had a lot of talent. Those pictures he took of those abandoned animals down at the SPCA, real cute. But Grant and I don't have time for this.
How would she know? Laura? Did Jimmy ever work for the SPCA before? So no one else would have access to those photos then? Oh, hold on. I have another call. Actually, I'll call you back. Hello?
Listen to this shocker. Turns out, Grant's here on an academic scholarship. And him growing up in the Hamptons, try Brooklyn. He's been paying his tuition by working for the school. Groundskeeper, janitorial staff, you get the point. That's why we haven't been able to find him. He's been working.
Everything was finally piecing together. With the flick of a switch, the game had changed. Ahead lay a whole new playing field.
It's really a shame. None of this had to happen. I tried to scare you away, but no. You had to keep digging. I gotta say, though, I'm impressed. When I trashed Laura's apartment and planted that playing card, I thought for sure you'd rush to the police thinking it was Jack Diamond, but you didn't buy it. Well, they always say curiosity killed the cat, but I guess now you can fully appreciate that phrase.
Where's Jimmy?
In the closet. But don't worry, I didn't do anything to him. Yet. I wonder where I'll put you, though. I'm running out of room.
It was all making sense. The missing pieces from Jimmy's last day were suddenly piecing together.
Why are you doing this?
For Grant, because I love him. Love can make you do the craziest things.
And Grant asked you to do this for him?
Of course not. He has no idea, and I'll never tell him. This is his dream. Grant's right for this school, and he deserves that scholarship. I was going to let any of those rich, pathetic kids who get to live off their parents' money take that away from him. So, I'd rig each election.
Each election?
Yes, each election. I've been rigging this thing since freshman year. You look surprised. How else do you think Grant won year after year? I mean, I love him, but no one else really appreciates Grant and all the hard work he puts in, so I had to take it upon myself.
Where does Jimmy fit into all this? How do you find out?
Turns out I sort of brought this upon myself. I figured I'd plan ahead since in the previous years it's been so hectic last minute. I was walking back to my apartment when Jimmy comes running out of nowhere and knocks into me, sending my papers flying everywhere. I tell him it's fine, that I got it, but no. He has to bend down and pick them up. He sees Grant's name written all over the ballots and whips out his camera and starts taking pictures. Then that girlfriend of his calls and says he's on to something. I wasn't about to let that happen, so a bottle of mace and a blow to the head later, Jimmy wakes up and finds himself locked in my closet.
With the break-in at the admin office last year, campus security showed up and they said they found the place deserted.
You think I need to break into the administration office? I work there. I have a key. Some guy was just stupid enough to vandalize the place.
It was all making sense. The missing pieces from Jimmy's last day were suddenly piecing together. He'd been working for Blair at 2, left after 3 to meet with Ava, headed back on campus by 5 only to be confronted by Egan. The two got into a fight and Jimmy ran, eventually losing Egan but knocking straight into Corinne.
So what are you going to do with Jimmy? You can't let him go.
Here, he can identify you. What are you gonna do? Kill him? You gonna kill me? You'll get caught, you know.
I'm a straight A honor roll student, a Girl Scout from the 1st to the 12th grade. There isn't so much of a scratch on my permanent record. After I burn these photos and dispose of your bodies, who'll ever know? Your disappearance will be old news. The world goes on. End of story. I should probably take this, if you'll excuse me.
Looks like Corinne hadn't been paying attention that day in Girl Scouts when they taught how to tie a proper knot. Laura, it's Corinne McGovern. Send help, alright?
Yeah. Aw, I love you too. Aw, you're so cute.
So I'd saved the day. Got the girl back her boyfriend, put the bad guys in jail. A happy ending. Or was it? Monday. I've always hated Mondays.